If you were in exile this morning, Psalm 107 will give you some advice. Psalm 107 speaks about people living in literal exile. It says, some wandered in desert wastelands, finding no way to a city where they could settle. They were hungry and thirsty, and their lives ebbed away. It says that their lives ebbed away. Ebbed away means overwhelmed to the point of giving up. Exile sucked the life out of them. It goes on to say, some sat in darkness and the shadow of death, prisoners suffering in iron chains. The shadow of death meant these people felt overwhelmed and suffocated by their pain. It felt like they couldn't go on. They had no hope. Each day they thought things couldn't get any worse, but each day they did. Sound familiar? You might be in a similar place today. Maybe darkness and the shadow of death describe your situation. You aren't in iron chains, but you feel as trapped in life as if you were. But this is what I want you to see. These exiles, they didn't lose hope. What did they do? This is what it says. Verse 13, then they cried to the Lord in their trouble. The last thing we often do in exile is call out to God because we think God has washed his hands of us or forgotten us. So we give up. But the psalmist wrote this song so we wouldn't give up. The first lesson in returning from exile is to turn to God. Psalm 107 continues saying, then they cried to the Lord in their trouble, and he saved them from their distress. If you're in exile today, the good news is God wants to save you from your distress. He brought them out of darkness and the shadow of death and broke away their chains. The words brought and broke that are used here are powerful and active. God reaches into the mess you are in and pulls you out of it. And then he sets you free, breaking off your chains. The psalmist writes with confidence here. He seems to know something about God. Maybe it's because God rescued him from his own exile. But he closes this section by saying, let them give thanks to the Lord for his unfailing love and his wonderful deeds for men. For he breaks down gates of bronze and cuts through bars of iron. The word for breaks down is literally demolishes. Another powerful word. God doesn't just knock down doors made of wood. He obliterates gates of bronze. And then he cuts through bars of iron. When it comes to rescue, God holds nothing back. Now, some of us are in exile today, and I don't know how you got there. It doesn't matter. The writer is convinced that God will break through gates of bronze and bars of iron to set you free. Now, be careful how you interpret that. Returning from exile doesn't necessarily mean your circumstances will change and everything will go back to the way it was. It might, but primarily returning from exile means your perspective changes. You no longer feel lost and alone. You come to trust God's way in your life and find peace, even though you may not have all the answers to your questions.